Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with the next in our ongoing series of Decca mid-price opera reissues, which I've been sitting around. I've had them sitting around for a couple of years. Whether they're still available or not, I have no clue. I don't worry about those things. You can find everything somehow if you try hard enough. And if it sucks, you don't need to find it anyway, so we're in good shape. This one is actually a very curious and interesting sort of story. It's the Dohnányi Cleveland das Rheingold. Now, Dohnányi was supposed to do an entire ring cycle in Cleveland, of all places, which is really kind of amazing. Remember, George Sell wouldn't do the ring. He wouldn't do the ring because he could never get the singers he wanted. These days, by the time Dohnányi came to do this stuff, it didn't matter because you were never going to get the singers. So it was either don't play it at all or work with the singers you have, because we were in a serious shortage when it came to Wagnerian singers, at least compared to the golden age of Wagnerian singing in the 30s, 40s, and 50s in that era. And so they did it anyway. But they were doing it at a time when the record industry was tanking. And Decca was tanking. Oh my God, Decca was tanking. I remember this so clearly. What a mess things were. And no ensemble got treated with more disdain by Decca than Dohnányi in Cleveland. They were making some spectacular recordings, but it was contemporary repertoire. They did Webern, they did Ives, they did Ruggles. They was doing all kinds of Martineau and Janacek. Oh my God, it was fantastic. Clever programming. Those things weren't even being released in the United States. And if they were released in the United States, they lasted for like 2 seconds and they got no promotion. I mean, nobody cared. It was just awful. I mean, the way Universal was treating the stuff was horrendous. I'd had conversations with people at the Cleveland Orchestra. I was asking them about, I really am looking forward to this recording. I see it's out now. And they're like, oh, it is? They didn't tell us that. They were treated it was disgraceful. It was completely disgraceful. And at the end, in the midst of all of this chaos and turmoil, of the downsizing of the entire industry, of, the self-destruction, of the record everything and record it as quickly as possible mentality, and everyone was getting fired, and the same people weren't managing the labels for more than 10 minutes at a time. I mean, it was just unbelievable chaos. They decided to do a complete ring cycle in Cleveland with Dohnányi, and there was no way this thing was going to sell, number one, and number two, there was no way they could justify the expense. You know how expensive it is to do a ring cycle with a major American orchestra? I mean, a contracted American orchestra, unless you've got subsidy money or someone's paying for it. I mean, the whole thing was crazy. And so they only got through 2 operas. They got through Das Rheingold and Die Walküre. That was as far as they got. And I have to say, I was looking forward to it, not because the singers were going to be wonderful. I mean, hopefully they wouldn't be too horrible, but because I wanted to hear Cleveland play the opera, because Dohnányi had that orchestra playing, at the highest levels. I mean, they always were since Zell. I mean, they were. And Dohnányi kept them there, and they kept themselves there. They all kept each other there. It was amazing. And so the recording that really is worth hearing from that duo of recordings is Das Rheingold. And the reason is really pretty easy. It's because Das Rheingold isn't a singer's opera at all. I mean, it's an ensemble piece. It doesn't have any big arias. I mean, it has lots of quick exchanges, and nobody has to come forward and take over the opera. There's no Brunhilde, there's no Siegfried. They're just the gods and the giants and the nibble goodies, the nibble things, whatever they are. And so they all chat with each other. It is the most Wagnerian of all the Wagner operas, the one that most closely approximates Wagner's concept of music drama, because it's absolutely continuous from beginning to end. It's symphonically constructed. It has virtually no dead spots. It's not terribly long. I mean, it's a couple hours. Oh, well, it's 2 hours and 27 minutes and 18 seconds here, which is, a good length, but at least it's not like 5 hours or 4.5 hours. And it's just wonderful. And so this is the kind of thing, quite frankly, that I was going to be the most successful. And it's a great Das Rheingold. It's great because Dohnányi paces it perfectly. The orchestra sounds like the gods themselves as they perform it. I mean, just unbelievably gorgeous orchestral playing, fabulous transparency of texture. It's almost a little bit, well, it's a little bit like the Carillon in its sort of chamber music-like clarity, but it has more weight, more depth of sonority. And it may be because the recording is more modern too. But boy, is it fabulous. And I just love it. I absolutely love it. If you want to just hear Das Rheingold for itself, thank God this got made. It lasted in the catalog for about, 10.5 minutes. Well, it's 148 minutes and 18 seconds, or 47 minutes and 18 seconds. I doubt it was in print that long, but it's good that they reissued it. I mean, they spent the money on it. God knows. And wow, you will not hear anything close to the sound, the sonority in Wagner that these people get. I'm not saying that it's the best or anything like that. There's Vienna, but it's personal. It's of a kind. It's an orchestra at its absolute best form, doing something that nobody else could do. And so I just love listening to it. And you probably will too. It's a find if you get a chance to hear it. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks so much for joining me. Take care.